lounging, son.
All right, welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan. With me, as always, my awesome co-host Manny. We're back with another episode of the Weekly Pull, talking about some of our favorite books this week. Some that you could get in the comic shop, and a couple that, if your shop's not dope enough, you're not getting unless you're getting direct from the creator. So we're gonna talk a couple of our mutual picks first. We'll talk those, the ones that we both read that we dig, and then we'll switch off like we always do. Let's lead off with Savage Dragon.
Cool, man. Yeah.
So last month we talked about it. I think Eric Larson's kind of getting back in the swing of things where we're going to start to see it monthly again. There's a little bit of I don't want to call it a writer's block, but he had a little bit of a break in between issues, so now it's back on track. This issue I was really stoked to talk about, and I think you were too, because we're talking about Paul Dragon, and this goes all the way back to like the stuff he was producing as a kid. Like, I don't know if you read that part in the letters page.
I did. I always read the Dragon letters pages. They're part of the package, and to me, like, it's one of the few letter columns that still feels really old school.
And that's worth reading.
Yeah, because there's a whole community built around it, man. And
you
get that as soon as you read it, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I love about the Savage Dragon group on Facebook. All those guys are like, they're awesome, dude. Like, they put together that Super Freaks book, like that was also through the podcast that the Savage Dragon Fincast. So I'll just real quick. So like, if you're not up to date on Savage Dragon, you don't kind of know the history. Like, Savage Dragon, obviously Eric Larson was started as a kid, and he talks about it that, like, he started doing it when he was around 9 years old. So this is actually like stories 50 years in the making, he says. So he kind of pulls from as much of the stuff that he could remember and kind of puts it into this origin, so you find out who Paul Dragon is. And it comes with different versions, because like originally it was like, I think it was like Flash Mercury, right, was the original dragon, and then there was another one where it was Paul, and he was a guy dressed in a suit also, and then eventually you get this version of Dragon that we have currently in the Dragon comics. And then it kind of ties into the graphic fantasy stuff, Megaton stuff. I love how he kind of gave us all of that in one issue. I fucking really, really love this issue. I don't know about you.
I did too, man. And like, it's from a creative standpoint for him, it must have been like it's such a different way to put together a comic, because he says that he did have some of those original pages he had as a kid. But I mean, another thing that I found out, I didn't know about in the letters page, is that in one of the California wildfires, I guess, he had his whole house burned down. So he lost a lot of. No, I didn't know that. Yeah. So he lost a lot of artwork and everything. So like you said, he's going from memory and things that people have sent him in that he's been able to recover, that people, like we said earlier, it's a great community. So I think people who have collected maybe original art from over the years were willing to send it back or offer it back to him for a little while, so he can sort of start building on this. And it's like, it's a great starting off point too, because it's a break from the current Dragon storyline. Mm-hmm. And if you want to check out Savage Dragon after all these years, it's not a bad issue to pick up. And I love seeing like all the concepts that he's had over the years thrown in here. You really get to see like what influenced Eric, I think, in this issue especially, because it's very Silver Age. Yeah. In the way it's drawn, in the concept of the characters, like the naming of the characters, like the interactions, everything. It feels like, I think, like what would, if you ever wondered what like a Savage Dragon like Silver Age book would be like this is probably the closest we'll ever get. Like,
I agree.
Unless we visit an alternate timeline, but it was great, man. And Paul is becoming a main character in the regular storyline too. So like, this isn't just like a one-off. Like, this is gonna make him like a bit of a richer, deeper character. So on that level, it works too. So it's a great issue. And I mean, I don't talk to Eric or have never interviewed him, but I think maybe dipping into the past a bit might have been reinvigorating for him. And like, you can tell, because like there's a lot of energy to this issue too.
We should get him back on, dude. You should join me next time. We'll have him.
I would love to, man. I've always wanted to talk to Eric.
If you want to do it, we'll do it. We'll set it up, dude. Because I've had him on a couple of times. I did a written one with him years ago. Like, I would love to like talk to him about this, because like you said, this one definitely feels like he was having a blast doing like many of his old concepts. Not necessarily do I remember all of them, because I know the graphic fantasy books, they did the facsimiles about a year ago, I think. I know he had a lot of stuff in there. And then in the Ultimate Collection of Savage Dragon, there was like that sketchbook section that was just
Yeah.
amazing, dude. Like just so many ideas. I would compare him almost to like Jack Kirby level of in terms of like creativity and characters, dude. Because he
I
just
mean, look, I
I
love
know,
this here.
I know. I was gonna show it too. That page
Yeah.
just like I couldn't stop staring at it, dude. Like I took a little bit extra time when I was looking at this page.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the whole
I
page.
glanced all over it, man. You know,
Yeah,
and
it's
to me,
just
like he's still the best person that really captures that Kirby energy. Like you said, I
yeah.
mean, I don't know of anyone working today, but still giving it a modern edge and a modern sense of humor.
Yeah,
It's
definitely. I mean, obviously, like I know Captain Marvel, like he grew up reading those original Captain Marvel books by, Fawcett. I know those are a huge influence, and like you kind of see that with like the fact that he can transform back and forth originally, right?
yeah. There's like a Shazam like wizard,
Right,
named
right.
Fonty that like
Fonty, yeah.
that.
So like you
Yeah,
see that the superhero fantastic team, like just all his different designs, dude. And to watch how those eventually turn into what we get now, or what he launched with in '92 when he launched the first or the Savage Dragon that we all know and started reading, but kind of getting the call back to seeing the stuff and how it played into Megaton 3 to 4 when you see Vanguard, right? Or how
yeah,
for if you want to see more, read Graphic Fantasy #1, like all that kind of stuff kind of just connects everything in a way that hasn't really been connected yet. Like it ties it together very nicely. And I'm just excited to see, because like Paul, obviously, if you don't know who Paul Dragon is, like, or you know who Savage Dragon is, like Paul kind of took over the place of Malcolm, who is the original Savage Dragon's son, right?
yeah,
And so now Paul's in this world when the merging of worlds happened. I think it was issue like 225 or something. And like, so Paul's been in the book, but like Malcolm just, he can't like call him dad, like it's just
yeah.
not in him. But it's cool to see that we do have like a dragon back in. It's obviously, if you see it, like it's not the Finn that you all
Yeah,
associate with Savage Dragon.
yeah. It's just much smaller fin.
Yeah, but I'm super stoked to see like what will spin out of this. I wouldn't even mind if like, every few issues he did kind of, like flesh this out. I know that he kind of like rapidly like gave us the history in this one issue, so maybe there's not as much room. But even just as much as him jumping in through the multiverse, like that where it left off on a place where you could kind of explore more of
Yeah,
that as
yeah, and
well.
I think that might be intentional, so he can pick up if he wants to, and show us more of what Paul has been through.
Yeah. But either way, I think that this is like you said, very good issue to jump on with, because you don't really need to know that much, if anything at all, to be
Yeah,
honest with you. You could just
and
read this
and
issue and you get a full story for sure.
it'll give you a good indication of like the kind of vibe that Savage Dragon has, like a mix of a Silver Age with like the humor and like violence of a modern book. But yeah, I mean, I'm just stoked that Savage Dragon is back. Um, it's the longest running image series being done by one creator, really. I mean, Spawn technically has more issues, but like Eric's been doing his own book from the very beginning.
Yeah, he does everything. I mean, well, not
Yeah,
okay. He doesn't do the coloring necessarily or the lettering, but like he has written and drawn every issue of Savage Dragon. Even so much so that when they did that Image crossover and Jim Lee drew that issue, he redid his own issue 13 just so he could have the kids section
yeah.
of
So he could,
every
yeah.
issue. So if you're not picking up Savage, I can go pick it up. I know that I have some other episodes on here in the backlog of Savage Dragon stuff. I'll probably make a playlist soon. But definitely want to cover some more Savage Dragon on here with you. I know you'd be down, so
Oh, for sure,
we'll
man, for
definitely do
sure.
some more of that. And let's talk the next one, Phantom Road, by Jeff Lemire, Gabriel Walta, and Jordi Belair on colors.
Three amazing creators,
Dude,
man.
this book, I mean, Manny and I were talking about it before we recorded. Like, we both didn't even look at the synopsis. We both just picked it up.
No,
I didn't need to. I just looked at the creative team, and then I mean, I don't know how you don't see this cover. Like, what an enticing cover! Talk
yeah,
about
you got.
cover
I
design.
got this one, which I thought was like really
Oh,
well
I didn't even
designed
see
too.
that. Yeah, by the time, dude,
Yeah,
by the time I got to the shop last night, I got there at 3. There was one copy left on the shelf, and that got taken instantly. So we had to order more. I think we're getting some from probably we have 2 other locations, but it did really well. I mean, obviously Jeff Lemire is gonna draw a lot of people to his books.
Yeah.
I don't really think he's ever had a book where I didn't like. So I mean, he's
Same dude. I mean, I've been a fan of his since he did like his Essex County stuff, like his like like indie stuff. So and
yeah.
Sweet Tooth, like I mean, obviously there's like Black Hammer. I mean, the guy is like one of those creators that like I don't want to say he's under the radar, but he's not like
He's
I
not
don't see a
flashy.
lot of dude. Thank you. You took the words out of my mouth. I'm gonna say he's not flashy, but he's consistent, and he's always working multiple genres, multiple positions. He draws, he writes. Like the guy's a powerhouse, man, and like he's been nothing but consistent since he started creating comics. So I always give anything that he does a chance. Like I blind buy anything I see, and then I mean Gabriel Walta, I've been a fan of since did the Vision
Oh
miniseries
my
with Tom
god, I
King.
know, dude. So
Like
good.
which to me is the best thing Tom King has done. That's still my favorite Tom King
I
work.
think it's the best. I think it's the best for sure. I mean, like you can say what you will about his Batman run. I mean, it has its ups and downs. You can say like Mr. Miracle was really good, but if I had to pick like what is my favorite Tom King, it definitely is Vision. Like Gabriel Walta, I discovered through the Magneto book that Cullen Bunn wrote years ago. I don't know
Oh
if
yeah,
you
that's
read
right.
that
That
one.
was the first thing he did.
Yeah, so like that's where I became a fan, and I was a little bit late to Vision, to be honest with you. I think I actually read Mr. Miracle before Vision because like I don't know, for whatever reason I wasn't picking up the book at the time and I didn't really know about it. But yeah, I mean, like amazing artist. Jeff Lemire, I think why he's such a good writer too is that while you may see multiple books come out a month from him, it's like he focuses on one at a time. So he's not writing a script. Like he pumps out a bunch for one and then works on another book. I don't know if, and then he maybe rotates or something, but I know I've heard that he doesn't write multiple books at the same time. And then, like you said, he also draws his own books. So I think that the quality never falters, dude. Everything he does, like May's book was amazing. He wrote and drew that came out I think it was last year, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So this one I was stoked for, especially like seeing this creative team, which is just phenomenal.
I mean, and
And
Jordi Belair on colors, man, she's amazing. Like
yeah,
she's also someone that can play with her art form a bit because she can do sort of flatter colors, she can do poppier colors, and like she knows exactly what colors bring the comics. And like I'm a writer by nature, and that's what I usually used to focus on whenever I read comics. But she's one of the colorists, along with like Matt Hollingsworth from Preacher that we talked about, that makes me notice what colors do to comic books, and make me see that like a colorist is as important as anything else. And I mean, this is a beautifully colored book. I mean, like when they go into that weird like alternate like world, when they like it just instantly changes in like mood.
go straight
And
to
that
that
that's
sepia with the sepia that we always talk about, dude. Yeah,
yeah, and,
but
and it's done so well, man.
well, yeah,
You can
because
just
she definitely like she is using color to set the tone and the mood and the complete atmosphere. Because just like this, just the red, like where are the red lights coming from? A car doesn't fucking have red lights on the front. Like that's obviously not what that's from. That's just we're setting the mood for this, right? And
yes.
and then this, dude, this double page spread, dude, right here.
Yeah, I was about to point that one out, like just like the way it pops, it almost looks like a blacklight image, it's
Yeah.
and I love that the story is like you said, we avoided all spoilers, and like all you really need to know it's about a trucker that runs into some very strange going ons on the road.
Yeah.
And we as the reader are in the same position as the character. We don't know what's going on. And I'm also a sucker for like road trip sort of horror movies, like anything with a trucker on the road or people going across on the road. And like the idea of the road can be very frightening at the
Hell
same
yeah,
time,
dude, because
especially
like
at night.
yeah. I know they definitely capture that in here. Like
I love this page, by the way. Like these panels, like going straight down on the white. What a great way to open it.
Yeah. I know, because it's funny, like I didn't even realize it because I read that and then I just kept reading the book and I didn't even like really connect it, like that it is when he's in that other world or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I didn't notice it until you meant to till I just flipped to it. But anyways, like I love, like you said, it's a trucker and you get a little bit of him. Like you learn a little bit about him, but very minimal. You just kind of like a quick family moment. You see him in the diner. I also thought like this is like the brightest color, like the stark contrast, the red and yellow of the chick in the diner. I don't know if that means anything or not, like, but I did notice that that's like the brightest, Oh, and then this guy in his little Hawaiian shirt too.
Yeah,
But
he
for
almost,
the
almost
most
looks like
part,
Ronald
there's
Reagan to me. You know,
yeah,
like
for the most part, you don't see any of those. They're all kind of like a little bit muted, a little bit like flatter color. Like you said, we're not going to spoil anything because like I think going in blind kind of will make you enjoy the book more.
yes,
But it is the trucker on the road. An accident happens, some weird like artifact comes out, and then he touches it, and then that's kind of like the gist of like how we get to where we get. But this is fucking this panel is fucking.
oh, dude, yeah, I love it. Like, I don't even know what those creatures are,
I
but like,
don't either, but
I'm on board for this ride, man.
I am
And I
so
think
on
it
board.
is. He's creating a bunch of books now. I think it's like the Bone Orchard Mythos, which I think are loosely tied together as like a horror project.
Yeah, they are.
And I
This
know that
isn't
this is
though.
part.
No, this
This
isn't
is
part.
it isn't.
Uh-uh.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
because I
both.
think that the other one is tied to a couple of other titles he's doing. He's like so prolific, I can't even keep up, man.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
this one I know is not tied to it because I know that it would like every single thing with Bone Orchard will have it like it has a different title, but it'll say Bone Orchard Mythos on the cover because there's a new one
Gotcha.
that's coming out soon. But and I think for the most part, that's mostly Andrea Sorrentino is going to do the art. I don't know if
Yeah.
there's going to be other artists on. I think it was
Yeah,
just
you're
going to be
right
the
because
two.
I think it's Andrea Sorrentino and Dave Stewart on the art duties on that one.
Yeah, but this book is great. I don't know. I saw mixed things. First, I saw it was a mini series, and then I saw in another solicit it said ongoing. I mean, I don't care either way. Like I'm this book.
Yeah,
This is
it's
a
been
good
added
first
to my
issue.
pull list. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good first issue, and I'm really glad. I don't know if did you picked it up because I mentioned it.
No, I just
No.
saw it on the rack and said, "Yep."
Yeah.
You know,
So
just
definitely,
Jess Lemire, Gabriel Walter, Jody Belair. Yeah, I'll get it. You
yeah,
know, like I
definitely
didn't even
go
flip
pick
through
this
it. I
up.
just grabbed it and opened it when I got home. I didn't even flip through it at the store. I just grabbed it.
I think it might have been my favorite thing besides Savage Dragon. Obviously, I really love Savage
Yeah,
Dragon, but
I really
this
enjoyed it, man.
this book was a
It,
surprise. Like I didn't know what to expect, so I think that's why I really enjoyed it. But I think if you're on the fence, go pick it up. I mean, you can't go wrong with Jeff Lemire and Gabriel Walton and Jordi Belair. Great creative team. Next book I want to talk about is Steel Streets #5 by
fucking awesome.
Marty Keene. Another great issue, dude. Like this dude just consistently kills it. I probably should do a video where I kind of like talk about the beginning part of the series because, like I said, this is an issue 5, so kind of riffs off of RoboCop, 80s movies, Ninja Turtles, black and white comics. Like that's all in here. He replicates like the duotone that you would see. The only colors in here are black, white, and red. That's the difference, right, of the black and white comics is there's no color, but he throws red in here. Just the character Hiroshi is your main character, and he's like not Ninja Turtle, but he's got like frog in him. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah, he's
pretty dope.
amphibian.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
amphibian, and the supporting cast. You have like the villain called the Sculler, right? The Shredder. You got Master Plank, which is you find out is his grandfather in this issue. I don't think you found out before, but like I think in this
No.
issue we kind of learned that. So that's like Master Shredder, right? Or I mean, Master Splinter, and then the Head Clan, which is a riff off of the foot and this and stuff like that. So I just can't say enough good things about this dude. Like Marty Keene is just killing it.
No,
We've said it
love his
before.
stuff, man. We both interviewed him, and he's a great guy, great creator. Like,
Yeah,
super into comics, super into his craft.
and probably no shade against anybody, but the most consistent self-published indie creator that I think I've ever seen. Like his books are coming out on a monthly basis. Steel Streets, I think for the most part, at least now, though, maybe at least 4 and 5, I know were like a month apart. I could be wrong, but he's producing something every month. Minimum. If it's not Steel Streets, it's something. And then he dropped 2 books this month, which I haven't got the other one yet, but it's coming. But this issue, like Francine Franzoni, which is one of the supporting cast, like she's trapped, Hiroshi's trapped in this, and they're experimenting on him, and but you get a lot of backstory in this, which I really dig, and you kind of learn a little bit more. Like Francine's like trapped, and she starts like seeing Master Plank, and he's like talking to her, and she doesn't know, she's like losing her mind or whatever because she's imagining him. He's telling her what she needs to do. He's giving her like kind of the rundown on Hiroshi. At the end of it, like Hiroshi's been experimented on and fucking like just looks yoked the fuck out now, and it's just a really I don't want to spoil too much, because if you haven't picked it up, like, you can pick it up from directly from him. I know we have stuff at my shop that you can pick it up. I know I've turned on a few people to it, and they've been asking about it. Like, I don't, my manager doesn't tell me that they're doing it, but like, I'm like, well, dude, just put it like on the fucking the picks, or put it on the pull list so that people can add it, and then I'll just hit him up, and then we'll get the stuff added to people's pulls. But I just, the craft of it, dude, watching this dude from what he, like, his early stuff, when he first like reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to check his stuff out and be on the channel, like, the growth, like, he's constantly evolving as an artist, dude. And I just love this book so much. Like, just like,
yeah.
like
I need
that.
to get that issue. I have the other ones, and I have bootleg Spider-Man, so I need to just
like, look at this,
order
look
it.
at this, dude. Like, look at that.
Dude, it's like he does look yoked, and almost like Batman in Dark Knight Returns there, you know, like super ripped, super like,
Yeah, because, and
basically.
like I said, like, I don't want to talk too much about the story. Like, just, I think I gave a pretty decent elevator pitch, I think, in terms of like,
You did, yeah.
but I think that you got to experience this book. Like, I don't want to ruin too much of it, because it really is something to experience, dude. And it's become so much more than just a riff on the genre, or on those, you know, properties like Ninja Turtles and RoboCop. It really is so much more than that. And it's just like his hand lettering too, dude. Like, look at this. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane.
No,
And
it's great.
And then, like, there's a backup by Jonathan Marks Baravecchia, I think is how you say it. So he was one of the artists on that Lightwood book that I was talking about. So he also has like a little epilogue in the back. So it's cool to see that he's bringing in another cartoonist to kind of add to the mythos here. And I can't not talk about this before we move on to the next book, is his fucking ads, dude. Like, the ads that look at how much work he puts into this Hiroshi helmet, you know, and where to
Yeah,
order it and
I
send
love
it in.
all the ads. I asked him specifically about that, and he says he loves doing those. You
I
know, and
know. That was the
like
thing I asked
almost
him. I was like,
making it seem like superhero comics has been publishing books since like the fucking 60s and shit. You
yeah,
know,
dude.
like,
I mean, I love it. And then I don't know what this is, because like, it doesn't say Mahdi's name on it, but it's like another book that says coming soon. And usually these things end up being books. This is the book I was talking about, Full Power. It's his
yeah,
version of like an indie book, magazine size, that's coming out. And then you also have this one. He says this summer. This dude doesn't stop, you know. And the
no,
thing
he's
I
a
really love,
powerhouse, man.
and the thing I really love about the book is the February 1987 cover date, because that's my birth month and birth year. So I really,
Dude, that's universal synchronicity right there, my man.
yeah. Anyways, go pick up everything by Monty King. Everything. You won't be upset with yourself. You'll find a new favorite cartoonist, and I will drop his link down below so you guys can hit him up and get some dope stuff.
Well, my next book is also another indie book that I was sent to by the writer of the book. It's called MythFall, from a small press over here down in South Florida named Attic Door Media. They have one other book, I think, called Incident Report, and this is the second book. This book is actually in the middle of its Kickstarter campaign, so we'll drop the link below if you like what you hear and you want to support it. I definitely would, man. It's great, man. It's a science fiction, or more of a science fiction fantasy in the way of Star Wars. But what I really loved about the book is that when you start reading it, you know, it looks like it's going to be more like your typical fantasy setting, and then within a few pages, there's like this big cataclysmic event, and the story pushes forward 5,000 years. So I mean, I'm like, I don't really see that a lot, where you sort of see a world that was, you know, your typical fantasy world where magic is prevalent 5,000 years in the future, where, like, you know, now you have science and magic. And yeah, those are tropes that you see, but like seldom do you see like the origin of that kind of world and flash forward to its future. That alone I thought was really cool. And it's also just a really good story and really well produced. And I loved it, man. I don't want to talk too much about it, because part of the pleasure for me was going in blind.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like we talked about that earlier with Phantom Road. Like, you know, like it's nice because we're so saturated with information on things that are coming out. But if you want to know the gist of it, it is about a world that had a savior type, and it seems like he failed in saving the world, you know, 5,000 years in the past. And then it flashes in the future, and you're seeing like how that event is still impacting the world today. and maybe what happened in the past is coming back now, and how it connects to all these characters in the future. And one character we're following who may or may not be the same person who was in the past, and he may or may not be immortal. And like it gives you enough information to hook you, but without leaving you feeling like what the fuck's going on. And it's beautifully drawn and colored and produced, man. Like this is quality paper, glossy cardstock covers. Like these people are pulling out all the stops. And another thing I love, which is something we don't see enough about in comics, is the entire creative team is female. You've got a female writer, female artist, female colorist, female letterer, female editor. And I mean, this is coming from a very pure love of comics. And I love this genre too. We've talked about what we don't see enough sword and sorcery and fantasy type stuff in comics. And there does seem to be a slow resurgence of it, both in the mainstream and obviously in the indie scene. So I highly recommend it, man. Check out you can check out their website, addictdoormedia.com. We'll drop the link below. I'm definitely gonna check out Incident Report, which was their first book, which was 400% funded on Kickstarter. So that should tell you that like a lot of people got behind that one. And this one I think is about halfway funded, so a lot of people are getting behind it now. And I can't say enough great things about it. I love the art style. Like it reminds me almost of Battle Chasers. If you were a fan of that, that's kind of the vibe I got from the book, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And I'm looking to maybe interview some of the creative team, and I want to ask them if Battle Chasers was an influence, because I love Battle Chasers. It had that like D&D campaign kind of feel in a good way, and so does this. And I believe they're all gamers too, so I think there is a sort of like gaming, origin in how the book was conceived and maybe created. So again, you got a team that is really working together to produce something great. I can't say enough good things about it. So check it out, MythFall. Support it. It's great to support more indie comics. We need more ways of getting comics out there in the world, and there are many. So that's my other pick for the week, MythFall.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely want to check that
creative
out.
team is CC Affini, Ali Preswick, Erica Angioloni, Haley Rose Lynn, and Barbara Perez Marquez. So all those people are involved in this book.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, I definitely will check that out, dude. My last pick is Batman versus Robin #5. It's the conclusion to this whole the battle with them, the Lazarus planet, where like kind of like when the Terrigen Mist like went over Earth. So it's kind of a little bit similar, where like the Lazarus fucking exploded and like a lot of people got like powers, or it affected their powers. Mark Waid, Mahmoud Asrar, I think is how you say. Yeah, I think that's how you say his last name. And just a dope book. And you know what? Jordi Belair is the colorist on this.
There we go.
Jordi Belair on colors, dude. Mark Waid, this story that he wrote with, yes, it's called Batman versus Robin, but it is so much more than that. It's not just a straight like battle between them. Robin gets infected or kind of possessed by the devil Neza, it was introduced in World's Finest in the first arc of Mark Waid's World's Finest with Dan Mora. But throughout, like, and then the magic users get affected, and I don't want to, well, I'm sure it's going to be collected soon, so I won't ruin too much of it, but there is an issue within this that I wish we were doing the weekly pull at the time, because Batman takes on every single sidekick that he's basically ever had.
Oh, wow.
Fighting them, and just the emotional connection that he had to each one of them, and what was said, because they were also possessed, so they were saying stuff to him, like to get at him, to get at his emotional core, dude. And just like, that's what I love about Mark Waid's writing, like that he just like, he always has that emotional fucking pull in every single story he does, like, and we've talked about his writing and like, like how he just gets characters. Well, he does such a good job of it in this one. And I know it's kind of going to the end, but like Robin, basically now Robin is free of the possession at this point. Batman is now possessed, and Robin throughout, like, he has this plan of how to take down Neza, and you don't really know. And like Monkey Prince is a newer character that was introduced in DC, so he's kind of been important in this book. So I feel like they're kind of trying to like prop him up a little bit. I don't know much about the character other than from this. I definitely kind of want to check out the trade. It's by Gene Yang. I forgot the artist on the book, but anyway, so his plan to kind of defeat Batman, calling to him all of the Bat family, all the Batgirls, fucking all the Nightwing, all the Robins, Red Hood, everybody, dude, is coming to take him down. And his plan, is going by him. I guess I'm going to spoil the end. Whatever, is to pull the devil out, but because he does it, like Batman is basically dead. Like his life force is gone. And what he does, like this is where the book to me meant a lot. You know, like this is why it became a pick. Not just because it was a beautifully drawn book, well written book, but he wants to sacrifice himself and take his life force and give it to his dad. And he's like, that's the sacrifice I have to make. Like I have to save him. His life is more important than mine. And I was just like, damn, dude, that's, you know, like you don't ever see Damian really kind of do that stuff, sacrificing of himself. But then they tell him, like all the magic users, like Enchantress is there, Zatanna's there, they're like, and this guy, what's his name? Piggy something, dude. I forget. Can't remember. Pigsy, which is also from the Monkey Prince. I don't know the character. But anyway, so he tells him, like, your life force isn't enough. Really, it would take two people. Are you willing to sacrifice somebody else? Like they're all out of, because all the Bat family's kind of knocked out, and they're like, you can make the choice. And Zatanna basically tells Enchantress to shut the fuck up. And it's not those words, but so then it's like, well, what if we take a little bit from multiple people? And they're like, well, you would need to get so much life force from so many people to bring him back. So he gets Oracle to kind of project him across Gotham. And Robin makes the call. He's like, hey, this is Robin. I come to you with a dire plea. Batman needs you urgently. And he's like, he's devoted his life to Gotham. He's been some of you think he's a myth. Some of you have seen him. You know, he's been there when you've needed help. He's been there more times than you can count. You know, he's protected you. I'm calling on you, like to help him. Like, be willing to share a small part of yourself that you won't even miss to protect you now and forever. Then he's like, he's like, say you are Batman, say it. And then like you see like all of Gotham, you see like little bits and pieces, like saying, we are Batman, we are Batman. And it's just like, it's just such a powerful moment, you know? And like,
that's awesome, man. Yeah.
At the end of it, he comes out of it. And then like, you know, like Damian's narrating at the end and just says that like, oh yeah, we defeated him. And like, even if he comes back, like we know we can defeat him now, you know? And it's like, it was a lesson learned, not by us, by the world, that there's no more formidable team than Batman and Robin. And that's how it fucking ends. And it was one of the, I mean,
that's awesome, man. That's yeah.
So like I said, like I guess I spoiled the whole fucking thing, but whatever, you know, like I don't think I could have talked about why it was my pick if I didn't like describe that, because that's really what solidified it for me. Like I think it was, you know, it's like I said, so much more than just a battle between hero and villain, or so much more of just like Batman versus Robin. Like it was like about Batman and Robin and the power of them, and what a great team they are, and how they can come together, and how Batman protects the world, and people coming to Batman's defense. You know, I think it was just a really dope issue. So that's why that's my pick.
That sounds great, man. Like you keep selling me more and more, and like my DC pull list titles are gonna keep growing. I think, you know, like
I'm not sorry about that.
I know you're not. I'm not sorry about it either, man. All right, so I got one more pick too, and it's Cosmic Ghost Rider #1 by Stephanie Phillips, Juan Cabal, Espen Grundengern, and then Travis Lanham, who's a letterer that's been lettering for a long time too.
Yeah,
I picked this up for two reasons. I really like the stuff that Stephanie Phillips has done across other titles. I mean, she started as an indie writer and has slowly been moving her way up through both Marvel and DC. Excellent writer, has a great grasp of characterization, and I think has a really cool sense of humor that she brings to her story.
Just a great sense of humor, yeah. I think so too.
Which is what makes her such a great pick to write Cosmic Ghost Rider. And if you don't know what Cosmic Ghost Rider is, it sounds like a silly concept, but to me it's so out there that I love it. It's basically Frank Castle, it's the Frank Castle from an alternate universe who died, became Ghost Rider, then became the Herald of Galactus. So he has the power cosmic, he has the powers of Ghost Rider, and he's freaking crazy because he's Frank Castle. And I believe he's also, in his timeline, been alive for like over 1 million years, so he's kind of insane. So it makes him a very fun, interesting character. And this is a great book to pick up if you've been curious about it, because it sets up who the character is and puts him in a whole new situation. And what I really loved about this book is that it sort of has a Western vibe to it, because it takes place on another planet that is very sort of Western, with saloons, and like Frank is working as like a bartender / like jack of all trades at a small bar with like a father and daughter who run, and he's sort of like the mysterious stranger that they don't know. He's obviously lying to them about who he is, but you get the sense that this Frank Castle is maybe finally starting to want to like have a simple life and get away from all the insanity that he's been through the timeline and through different universes. And of course, like in all these stories, the past shows up to catch up with him. And then, spoiler alert, you finally figure out that somewhere along the way he's been split in two. So I think he's been split from the Ghost Rider persona, at least for now, which you don't really realize because Stephanie Phillips is very clever about writing that until the very end. So there's a great hook at the end, and I just love the character, man. Initially, the character was really associated with Danny Cates. Other writers have sort of slowly started to take the character and add things to the mythos, add things to the personality, and I think this is going to be a great series. I believe it's a mini series,
Yeah,
as
I
most of
think
the
it's
Cosmic
5.
Ghost Riders. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is fine. I think that's what serves a character best is to give him to different creators and have them tell stories with him. Because he's like one of those characters that's like, man, it's so batshit crazy the idea that it just works. Like it's so crazy it just works, and I highly recommend it. So yeah, get it, man. Cosmic Ghost Rider issue number 1 is out now, and that's it, man. And
Yeah,
it's
no,
just a
I mean,
fun,
I
cozy read.
definitely picked it up because you said you were going to make it a pick. So, like, that's kind of, I asked you so that I could, like, because I like knowing what you're reading too. So that way, if I
Yeah,
want to, like, if
same.
I have time, I can read it also, like, so I can have an opinion on it. But like I said, I think I said it last week when you said you were going to
And
pick it.
he's
Like,
a dope, awesomely designed character too, man.
oh, yeah,
Like
like, the concept of him is really dope. I don't,
I
like,
love the he's in space, so like his head has like a helmet on it, so like it's a
yeah.
very very striking design, man. Like I love seeing it, and I love the concept. So
Yeah, so
anyway, I interrupted.
all I've read was the original Thanos by Donny Cates, which is where he was introduced, and I read the first miniseries, which I think is the one where he's going back in time, right, to kill baby Thanos, right? Is
But
it
he
that
ends
one?
up he ends up not being able to do it, so he tries to raise baby Thanos. So it becomes like
Yeah,
almost like a lone wolf
Lone
and
Wolf and
cub
Cub. Yeah,
concept.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I like that one, but I think there probably was like one or two more, and I didn't read it because I'm like, okay, you guys are gonna oversaturate this character and just like make me not like it. So I didn't read it, but I did pick this up because you said, and I like Juan Cabal is a great artist. I think like
yeah,
what he did on that Guardians run with Al Ewing was just phenomenal.
yeah. Yeah, he's
But
very good at space stuff, which is what makes him such a good choice for this.
yeah,
For this for
so
this kind of science fiction story.
I'm definitely gonna. I don't know necessarily if I'm gonna wait for the trade or wait till it's done to read it all, but I do think that it was a good first issue, and I mean I'm kind of intrigued to see like where it was because like the way it ended, not because there's a backup story, but the way the main story ended, I'm like I don't really know what's happening, kind of, like was he dreaming, was he not, like is like what's
Yeah,
happening there, but it's definitely a good first issue. So I would second that. I'd recommend people picking it up, especially if you like the concept of it, because like you said, the concept is insane, but it's so insane that it's good. Like
yeah,
Punisher with Ghost Rider and Silver Surfer powers. Like I mean, how do you not want to read that?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's this is one of those ideas that we read comics for. Like
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
But yeah, dude, like you said, it was a great week for comics.
yeah.
I'm definitely
We
stoked.
keep
Like,
saying it, man. There really hasn't been a bad week, and even though the week that maybe had 2 or 3 titles, like those were freaking great 2 or 3 titles. So 2023, we're going into March now. Almost like the first quarter of the year, and it's been a fantastic year for comics, and I don't see that slowing down. And every week we have so many books to talk about, and we're both so excited to talk about it that like we kept saying at the very beginning of the year, this is going to be a great year for comics, man. Start visiting your shops. Get your pull list out there, man. It's a great time to be reading weekly comics.
yeah, I agree. And like, we don't even know all of the books that are coming out this year yet, but just of the books that have been announced, like I think DC and Marvel have some good stuff coming out, but the indie scene, dude, a lot of great stuff is going to be coming out.
Yep.
Like Image, Dark Horse is killing it, dude. They've been dropping a lot of dope stuff. I know, like I looked at next week's books, and so far my picks are one is from Image, one's from Dark Horse, so I don't even have a Marvel or a DC pick yet. I mean, maybe I will, I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, I have
it
to
is a
look at the
really
solicits too.
it is a really really dope year so far, and I can't wait to see what else comes out, dude. And I can't wait to jump on here and talk about it with you. And if you're not already following us, make sure you follow us on social media. Manny's links will be down below where you can follow him. The Comic Lounge links are down below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid goes up. And come back next Friday. And on that note, we're out.
See you next week, guys.